Rolling.
Rolling. Hello? Anybody home? Welcome back to Moto Photo Adventures, everybody. I want to just let you know I am so impressed with the Aprilia Touareg 660. This has been my most fun bike I have ever owned. And one thing that's really nice about it is as comfortable and adept on the interstate. If I'm just carving out long distance miles, I can sit on this baby all day long, especially with the new Sargent seat. But it's also a great off-road bike. You can tear up the trails really well on this thing. Especially if you've noticed, I changed the exhaust out for a lighter weight exhaust, and you can do a couple modifications to take a little bit of the weight off of this bike. If you haven't already, I recommend that you check out the video series we are just now releasing about the Covered Bridges tour that we did in Georgia. That was a road trip, and for that reason I kitted the bike out as a road bike. And so I have GV hard bags, adventure bags that slap onto the side, and if you come around here you'll see these are the quick release knobs where the rack, so I have a GV rack that basically extends out around that, and then my aluminum hard panniers attached to that. So that is a fantastic setup when you're doing a road trip because it's secure, it's lockable, you're in a city, you need more security anyway. And so I love that system for road trips. But when I'm riding off-road, I go soft bags all day long. Now, I've been using a different brand for a while, but we wanted to try out this new giant loop setup. I personally saw it, first time I noticed it was when a good friend of mine that you might know, Jason Bennett, rode with me. Who happens to be videotaping this series, of course. Hi, Jason. But Jason has this giant loop Great Basin setup on his Norden 901. And I fell in love with this thing because it is completely rackless and really saves a ton of weight, even if you compare it with all of the competitors in the same market space. But this is my first big adventure. We're at the Palmetto ADV Rally in, where is this? Cottageville, South Carolina, just outside of Charleston. And so I'm going to be testing this setup. And riding here, I tell you, I absolutely love it. Along with saving the weight from my bike by getting rid of the catalytic converter and adding the new muffler. I'm going to be taking the center stand off and things like that. Just going with a rackless bag like this saves a ton of weight. And it's very noticeable, especially even on the highway, because it hugs the bike really tightly and is very kind of compact and aerodynamic, and it keeps the weight kind of low. So I have to tell you, I am super impressed so far. So I'm going to show you guys how I have it packed for this weekend's camping trip. I have a couple of unique little things that I don't think I've seen on anybody else's reviews, so stick around till the end so I can show that to you.
I want to take just a break away from Chris, describing all of the things that you can put in a Great Basin and a Rogue dry bag. Now, you want to take everything that is important with you, and while the Great Basin and the Rogue will carry a lot of stuff, one thing it can't carry is the peace of mind that you would get in case you have a crash on your motorcycle of no fault of your own. Stick Rick Stewart in the bag. 1-855-GET-MOTO. That's Rick Stewart. He's always going to be riding with you because he's a rider just like us. He's even at the Palmetto ADV Rally with us this weekend. That's Rick Stewart, scmotolawyer.com. 1-855-GET-MOTO.
But let's take a look at what we have inside. And I will tell you also, if you're not familiar with it, got my hat and the beaver tail up on top. You can put all kinds of stuff into this little beaver tail. If you extend these out, you can put another whole, duffel bag or something up here, or if you have a little backpack or a camera bag that you wanted to have more accessible, you can strap that to the top. So that's a really neat feature. And then, of course, everything is basically in one big compartment. So let me talk to you a little bit about the uniqueness of this style bag from Giant Loop, comparing it to its competitors, like the Tusk. They make a very similar type of setup that kind of is a horseshoe type shape. And the Moto, which is the high end, everybody is familiar with Moto. The problem with those two setups is that they come in modular system. They're not one big bag. So the problem with that is if you have an oddly shaped tent or an oddly, you know, a different sized sleeping bag that doesn't fit into one of those little pockets, then you're kind of screwed. Whereas this one, it's one big voluminous entity that you can stuff everything in whatever configuration works best for you. The other big advantage compared to its competitors is it's so fast to set up. It took me like 15 minutes. A strap here, and a strap in the back, and Bob's your uncle. I mean, it is it can take you 15 minutes to get this thing on your bike set up and ready to go. And that's one thing that I love about my GV setup, because they are also a quick release system. Key, and I can have my hard aluminum bags on or off in 5 or 10 minutes as well. The days of spending an hour assembling, you know, like your Moto setup, that to me is just a real headache. So I love that about the Giant Loop. It's so easy to manage and so easy to put on. But let me show you what I have in here. You get almost 60 liters of storage space. Got a pair of shorts and some flip-flops just kind of sitting up there on the top. Just a couple little accessories here on the top that I'm going to toss out that I threw in at the last minute. Very cool, by the way, that you can open this up and just add something to the top here. As long as you can roll the top of this bag down 3 turns, you can fill it up to the brim if you really want to. And if you're familiar with the Giant Loop system, this is very similar to their Coyote bag, which is a much smaller bag, more designed for dual sport bikes. This one is designed more for the bigger adventure bikes, especially with the wider seats like I have with my Sargent seat. And it's got more volume to it, almost 60 liters of internal storage space, which is very cool. So let me show you on this side. I do have my Big Agnes sleeping bag. Absolutely love my Big Agnes bag. If you haven't already, we have a complete review of the Diamond Part sleep system, along with my sleeping pad. And this is on this side. My camp chair, Big Agnes camp chair as well, and oh, my camp fan. I gotta have that. You know, we're in Charleston, it's very hot in the summertime. You can't sleep without your fan. And then my tent. All right, so that all went down that side. Up here at the top, I still have one more item, and this is my little tea setup. I guess you guys who follow the channel, you know Jason and Steve love their coffee. I'm a tea guy. So this is my little tea setup. Got to have my tea in the morning, but that's everything. Now, the cool part about this is you can just roll this down and cinch it all back up together and go do your ride for the day if you're just going to go out for day tripping or whatever, and you don't have to actually take it off. If you wanted to, you could, but it makes it super easy because you can roll it down. It's a roll bag system, which I really, really like. It's made from bomb-proof tarpaulin type material, and they have reinforcements, as you can see down here, where if you ever were to tip over or be in an accident or drop your bike, you know, it's reinforced as well. It is basically waterproof, which is awesome. Obviously it's got seams, so if you were to go through a river and drop your bike, you know, submerge this, yeah, it's gonna probably get some water in it. So they do ship it with internal bags that are completely waterproof. 1, 2, and then 3. I personally don't find the need for them, especially since all my other items are in their own little stuff bags anyway. So I just stuff a bag, stuff a bag, stuff a bag, and I'm done. All right. So that is kind of how I have the bag set up, but I do want to tell you, like I promised you at the beginning,
Yay.
I have my Giant Loop system set up a little bit different than what I've seen other people. Woohoo! The bag itself does come with a muffler heat shield. So you can strap a heat shield to this if you are getting the bag anywhere near the heat for that muffler. So that's a nice feature. I think that they include that. It's very thoughtful of Giant Loop to do that. However, I love the look of my Dominator muffler and I didn't want to scratch it up or cover it up with a heat shield. I don't know, I'm just silly like that. So what I did was, instead of putting everything in the bag and then rolling it up, and remember at the beginning I told you about this beaver tail, I would normally put like my clothes bag or something like that over on top of the beaver tail and strap it on that way. Instead, what I did was I put my clothes underneath. So essentially, all I have to do is loosen this strap, grab the webbing here, and this is the Giant Loop Rogue dry bag. And look at that, it's perfect size to slip right underneath that, sits on top of my seat. And what that does is it just pushes the top of the Great Basin up a couple of inches so I don't have to worry about the heat from the exhaust. And of course, I've got all of my clothes and toiletries packed up in the Rogue. So the cool part about the Rogue, by the way, if you aren't familiar with the Rogue, is that it opens on both ends. So I can put my toiletry kit on one end, pull that out if I need to, and then have like my underwear or something accessible from the other side, or like my long johns if I'm going to be in a cold environment, something that I need to get to quickly. So that's the Rogue. I just pull that up, slide it underneath.
Oh my gosh!
Don't even need to strap anything down. It just gets cinched down when I pull that strap and that strap.
That's really great.
Everything else goes in here. Boom, boom, boom. And I am ready to roll. So those are my thoughts on the new Giant Loop Great Basin. I absolutely love this saddlebag. I'm excited to put it to good use this weekend. And if you're Giant Loop and you are watching this, I could use a matching Giant Loop tank bag. I'm just saying. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We got lots of fun content. And remember to go back and look at the Covered Bridges tour that we just started releasing. It's a fun adventure.
Moto.